I, Chair Gillette, called the live hybrid state plumbing board meeting of October 17, 2024 to order at 9:29 a.m. Debbie, could you please call roll?
Yes, sir. In the room, we have Chair Curtis Gillette.
Here.
Thank you. And also in the room, Vice Chair Tyrone Bergen.
Here.
Connected through Zoom, we have Molly Keller. Molly?
Here.
Thank you. And Jolie Bold.
Here.
Stephen Matiaco.
Present.
And Christopher Wynn.
Here.
Corey Frazier is absent this morning. Mr. Chair, we do have a quorum.
Awesome. Thank you, Debbie.
You're welcome.
We'll get to the approval of the agenda in order of business. Members, do you have any changes to the meeting agenda or the order of business? By Chair Gillette, rule the agenda approved as published. Then approval of the draft minutes. Members, do you have any changes to the draft minutes?
I have something I noticed on for the attendance. It just showed that I was physically present at the last one, whereas I was on the Zoom, but that's all I have.
Well, I appreciate that, Steve.
I will take care of that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Okay, that's awesome, Steve. Anybody else have anything? You know, because if that's the worst that we're doing, I think we're okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I, Chair Gillette, rule the draft minutes of August 15th, 2024 final. The next meeting date will be December 19th, 2024. Ooh, right before Christmas. Get all your shopping done. Okay, the board will hear oral and written testimony for the public comment item. Policy Analyst Pierre Sabagh to address the public comment item.
Thank you, Chair Gillette, members of the board. For the record, my name is Pierre Sabagh, Policy Analyst with the division. As of this morning, we did receive one request for public comment to the board from Mr. Robert Greenway. Mr. Greenway, if you're connected via Zoom or telephone, please come forward and identify yourself now, and you will have 5 minutes of public comment. Chair Gillette, I do not see Mr. Greenway connected. Hold the line open for a few moments in case there's anyone else that did not sign up that would like to provide public comment that's connected. Seeing and hearing none, that concludes public comment. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thanks, Pierre. Next, we're going to get to the plumbing program update. Andy Skinner, the plumbing program chief, policy and technical services. Andy, can you give your update?
Yeah, thank you, Chair Gillette. For the record, my name is Andy Skinner. I'm the plumbing program chief for the State of Oregon Drilling Codes Division. What I have for the board today, I'd like to share just kind of one major item. At the last August 15 board meeting, I shared the new clarification on the LMS and the LHR business license required now for plumbing contractors. Just to kind of recap on that a little bit, maybe it's been a couple of months. So this license is an electrical business license that is required to connect plumbing appliances, or reconnect, I should say, plumbing appliances on the electrical side. So water heater change out, dishwasher change out, garbage disposal change out, even maybe a surf pump, something like that. You're now required to have this LMS license. Also, you could have a LHR license that would also cover a little bit more scope. But those are for reconnection of the electrical for those replacement appliances. So prior to when we communicated this at the last meeting, prior to this, it was highly suggested that plumbing contractors have this license moving forward. It is a requirement. But at that last board meeting, August 15th, there was a couple of questions that came up about the scope of the license. So I told the board I would come back with some additional information to hopefully answer those questions and then answer any additional questions you may have. So the LMS license, again, is that electrical business license for the plumbing contractor. It allows them to do the reconnection of those appliances. There is no restriction to amperage on this license. There is an exemption for permitting of 30 amps or less. So if you're replacing a water heater that's got a 30 amp circuit, no permit is required to do that reconnect of that electrical. This license does allow you to go beyond 30 amps, but now it would be required for you to pull an electrical permit through the local jurisdiction to do that electrical reconnect. And remember, this is only for reconnection. The other piece of that, if a permit is required because it's over 30 amps, there is no allowance for the minor label program through the electrical. So they would have to pull a full-blown permit at the local jurisdiction to do over 30 amps. And the LMS gives them that ability to pull that electrical permit because it is an electrical business license at the local jurisdiction. So I think that was kind of some of the questions that came up at the last board meeting. Is there any additional questions that anybody may have?
Chair Skinner, I have a question.
Yes.
So no permit is required for the 30 amps or less, but does that still require the electric business license to perform the work?
Yes.
Okay. And then, let's see. So what qualifications would somebody need to have to get that license?
Great. So there has been some confusion there, and we currently are revamping the application form for that license because on the current application form, it talks about assigning supervisor to qualify you for the QP, what we call the QP, the qualified person. That is not the case. For a plumbing contractor to qualify for this license, they just have to prove or have somebody verify for them that they have done appliance installations, not necessarily the electrical connection, but appliance installations. That automatically qualifies you for the LMS. And that application is, like I say, currently being revised to clarify that the signing supervisor is not required for the LMS, the LHR, or the other one that we never did mention, which is a CPI, which is pump installers. So
Chief Skinner, how would somebody go about proving that they've, what are you looking for evidence, I guess, or is the board? Or...
Yeah, another great question. So on the application, there is a verification section and a verification form. That verification form would be filled out by somebody else verifying that you, maybe as the business owner or one of your employees, has done that work either for you or for somebody else. It's a pretty simple process. You just need somebody else verifying that you've done that work. It could be an inspector, it could be a coworker, it could be your boss, any one of those. But it just takes that extra signature from somebody else to say you have done that work. Now you qualify to be the qualified person. And as I mentioned at the last board meeting, the LMS license, whoever becomes the qualified person underneath that license now lists all of their employees that can work underneath of them. So they do not have, because it is a business license, they do not have to have any additional LMS licenses for each employee. It's a business license underneath that QP person, the qualified person. And then you give a list to the division of everybody that is going to work under that license, either through a WHI license, a water heater installer, or a JP license.
Thank you, Chief Skinner.
Yeah, great questions. Any other questions?
No, I was gonna have a question about who's qualified, and so there is no training needed to do that work, other than I'm gonna guess at that point you will need to be a licensed qualified.
Yes, to do that scope of work, it does require a license that covers the scope of work that is being done. And that's why I mentioned the WHI, because the WHI is a water heater installer limited license.
Yes.
There's also the water treatment installer license, and there's also the solar heater license. And if any one of those is, installing an appliance that has an electrical connection, then they would also fall underneath that licensing.
Great. That wraps it up. Anybody else have any questions?
I have one question just for a point of clarification. So
Yeah,
under
Bruce.
30 amps doesn't require an electrical permit, but it still would require any applicable minor label and plumbing permits. Is that correct?
That is correct. When you're changing out a water heater, a minor label plumbing minor label is still required to change out that water heater. There is no exemption for that fixture underneath any of the exemptions in 918-780-0035. So the minor label is still required on the plumbing, but no permit is required on that reconnection on the electrical side. 30 amps or less.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Andy. We actually covered some business at this night. That's great. Now, not that we don't, but the last one was a little dry, so I'm glad to have something going on. Okay, we'll get to Kathy Rowell and talk about our enforcement services section. Kathy, you have 3 cases you would like to discuss.
Yes, thank you, Chair Gillette, other members of the board. My name is Kathy Rowell, contested case representative for the division. Before the board is a summary of the consent orders recently negotiated by the division on the board's behalf or settlement prior to hearing. You entered, as Chair Gillette said, into 3 consent agreements since the last board meeting. All settlements, including the amount owed and suspended civil penalties, fall within the guidelines on the penalty matrix and contain standard conditions. Board action is required on these cases. The summaries of these orders are included in a chart in your packet. We've also provided copies of the orders in your packets. All the cases are fairly standard. I'm available to answer questions you have regarding any of these actions. Again, board approval or denial of these consent orders is required. So as you can see on the chart, there are 3 consent orders are there. The first one is C 2020-32, Joshua Pratt, III.B precise property inspection, installation of a sink drain and connection to a P-trap, connection of a water supply line to a faucet, no plumbing contractor license, no journeyman plumber license, and procuring or assisting another performing work for which a license is required. This was in Reedsport. We assessed a penalty of $7,000, imposed $1,500 and suspended $5,500. The next 2 cases are related cases. The ACDC Construction LLC case, along with Douglas Colborn, one of the owner employees of that company. It's an installation of a new angle stop valve connecting a newly installed dishwasher to a potable water source. No plumbing contractor license, permitting unlicensed work, and no journeyman plumber license for those 2 orders. This was in Gresham. We assessed for the company $5,000, imposed $750, suspended $4,250, and for Mr. Colburn, we assessed $2,000, imposed $250, and suspended $1,750. So those are the 3 cases. If y'all have any questions.
Anybody on the board have a question for Kathy? I do, Kathy.
Okay.
And so let's just take up, for instance, how were you able to figure out that these individuals, this is for my, because this is fascinating. You got a couple of pretty minor things, but you're able to focus on them. How did that come about? Was there somebody tipping, calling you and saying somebody's doing work that needs to be licensed plumber?
Are you talking about on the 2
Sure.
ACDC cases
Sure.
or any of them? Our cases come to us in various ways. Some come through just our complaint portal, and various types of people can complain about possible unlicensed work. The ACDC cases, I can tell you those were my cases that came from a homeowner complaint. And then we investigated it.
Oh, that's just awesome. Out doing your job.
Yes.
Hey, anybody else have any questions for Kathy? Nicely done, Kathy. I appreciate you. We do need a motion required. The motion is required for the consent orders that incorporates the board decision. I'll make a motion. Motion to adopt the 3 cases proposed for resolution as they outlined in the enforcement board report and issue final orders. Anybody care to second the motion?
I'll second
Second
that.
motion.
Debbie, I believe we need to take the roll call.
Yes, sir. Christopher Wynn,
Aye.
Stephen Matiaco,
Aye.
Joey Bowles,
Aye.
Molly Keller.
Aye.
In the room, Vice Chair Tyrone Bergen.
Aye.
Also in the room, Chair Curtis Gillette.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, the motion passes unanimously.
Great, thanks, Debbie. Okay, and now we're gonna go to the review and approval of the chief's recommendation for new continuing ed courses and instructor applications. Pierre, would you like to introduce and discuss this item?
Thank you, Chair Gillette, members of the board. For the record again, my name is Pierre Sabagh, policy analyst with the division. Our state plumbing chief, Andy Skinner, has been evaluating courses and instructors on the board's behalf. Last month in September, Chief Skinner reviewed 11 applications from 3 organizations. 9 courses were recommended for approval. 2 instructors were recommended for approval. The matrix is in your board packet today. A motion is needed to approve, amend, or deny the committee's recommendation. Chief Skinner's recommendation. Examples of which are outlined in your packet. Thank you, Chair Gillette.
Thank you, Pierre. Anybody have any questions for Pierre or Andy on these courses or instructors?
I have a question,
Yeah, Steve.
just for point of clarification, I guess, so it looks like there was 9 courses that were recommended with 2 instructors. I'm looking at the landscape sheet here that identifies the course name and applicants, and there's 9, it looks like, courses on one page and 2 on another, making a total of 11. And then there's 3 instructors, it looks like, including local 290, James McKenzie and Phil Robinson. So are there a couple of these courses that were not going to be on the recommendation list, or
Pierre? And why do you say that, Steve? Because
so on one page there's 9, and there's a second page that shows 2, and it shows approved. They all say approved for 2023.
yes,
Yes, Steve. So the first 9 are the courses, and the other 2 are the instructor applications.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah,
Thank
because
you.
it kind of cut off on page. Yeah. Does that make sense?
No more questions. Yes, thank you.
No.
Thanks, Steve. No, I know,
That's
it kind
great.
of cut off in the board packet, so I can see the confusion. Apologies.
yeah, that's great. Let's not all shake our heads. Let's ask questions if we don't understand.
Yeah, if I may, through the chair,
Yes.
for the record, Andy Skinner, plumbing program chief. Just, I know we've got 4 new board members, and so maybe just a little bit more clarity on the process might help. So there's 2 application processes. There's one for the course, and then there's one for the instructor or multiple instructors teaching the same course. And those have to be submitted separately. It's not on the same application. So they get looked at separately and verified separately, but then sometimes, are joined together through they're getting approved for a certain course or courses. So it is kind of a dual process, just for clarity. And hopefully that helps a little bit.
If I may, through the chair.
Yeah,
Once the course is approved, can it be used again and again, or do they need to resubmit each code cycle if they want to teach it?
Yeah, great question. So the courses are only approved for each code cycle. They can come back and have an old course reapproved if it meets the requirements of the next code cycle, depending on if it's code related or code change or rule and law. Of course, rule and law and code change would have to be updated for that next code cycle. But code-related courses can be broader because it's just code-related. For an example, I used to do a course many years ago that I called Code Differences. And we went through all the code books from the conception of building codes back in 1973, and we'd compare those major code sections. That's not a current code that we're talking about, but it's code-related. And those are courses that could be moved through additional code cycles where a code change or a rule of law would have to be updated for each code cycle. But they're only approved for that 3-year period. Okay.
And also, if I may, then when you apply, the question is this a new course or has it been approved before? And if so, what state, what year? And so then the committee can do follow-ups accordingly. And it's pretty nice setup. I've sat on the committee and it's done very well.
Chief Skinner, are these courses open to, say, like if an inspector or somebody wanted to take the course also, just to expand their knowledge, or?
Yeah, great question. So it would be up to the provider. You know, the courses are set for your continuing education requirements on the journeyman plumber's license. And so whether you hold a journeyman plumber's license or not, that would be up to the provider to allow anybody else into the course. We have no restriction on that. Again, the courses are approved for that continuing education requirement through rule to renew your journeyman plumber's license, not your certification for your inspector's license. But again, I'm sure they're open to, some of them will probably be open to anybody. I mean, but it'd be up to the provider.
Where would somebody go to sign up for these courses?
We do have a list on our website of all the current approved providers and courses available, whether it be through correspondence, live, or virtual. So you can go to that list on our website and you can contact any one of those providers and ask additional questions.
Thank you, Chief Skinner.
Yeah, thank you.
Great question. And for the record, I am an instructor on some journeyman courses and I would never turn anybody away. And if he just showed up off the street and said, I think this is kind of cool, I'd like to sit on your class, I'd invite him to do that. And if they ask too many questions, I may take a break and talk to them. I'm not trying to teach people how to plumb here. Okay, any other questions? Before we make a motion, I'm going to make a motion to amend and approve Chief's recommendation for the approval or denial of courses and instructors. And we are going to approve them. I didn't mean to say denial. So do I have a second to approve these courses and instructors?
Second motion.
Thank you. Debbie, we do require a roll call for this?
Yes, sir. Christopher Wynn,
Aye.
Stephen Matiaco,
Aye.
Jolie Bold,
Aye.
Molly Keller,
Aye.
Vice Chair Tyrone Bergen,
Aye.
and Chair Curtis Gillette.
Aye.
Your Chairman, the motion passes unanimously.
Awesome. Before I get to the adjournment, does anybody else have any questions or comments for the board? Hearing none, there being no further business, the October 17th, 2024 State Plumbing Board meeting is adjourned at, looks like 9:54. Thank you, everybody, and I appreciate all the great questions today.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks
everyone.
for
Thank
attending.
you.